You are listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZW LP Conroe and 106.1 KZCC LP Conroe, and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's hump day.
It is hump day.
And
Yay!
it's Toast to the Town with Christy and Mel.
I know. Well, after having to take a little hiatus because things got a little bit
got
sketchy last
got
week.
A little sketchy.
A little sketchy, a little interesting, but good to be here and a little bit warmer day than what we had a week ago.
And as my post said yesterday, it's good to be back to normal, whatevs normal is.
Well,
I don't even know what
yeah,
that is anymore.
That's a setting on a clothes dryer.
That's
Exactly.
about right. It has been an interesting week, and we hated to miss last week, but obviously
We
with
couldn't
road
get
conditions being bad and everything else. Dick, how did y'all fare through the storm? Did y'all have any pipe issues or anything?
No pipe, just thumbs up.
Oh, that's
Woo.
awesome. Yeah, and I know, Mel, you were a little further up north, so y'all had even some colder
man.
temperatures.
Yeah, I'm still, every morning I get up and it's a new, the things are getting smaller. They're getting smaller and cheaper to
Yes.
fix. That's always a positive.
That's good, and I've been very quiet about this. But I was really blessed through the whole thing, and was able to retain power and water and.
Well, nobody out there cares. You're
I
just
know.
talking to the whole town.
Well, I
county.
mean, but because there are these weird little small pockets that that weren't involved in some of this mess. But the bad part is I was opening my home up to everybody. Hey, come join us, but nobody could get there.
Yeah.
And and it was like, and it was just, and so then I had survivor's guilt. It was terrible. It was terrible. So then I would just
You
sit
were
there.
suffering more than
So
I was.
I'm like cranking down the thermostat, to be a responsible consumer.
While the
And-
rest of us suffered.
Absolutely. And I'm like, we're going to eat cold beans, kids, because somebody right down the street can't even warm up these beans. So we're going to eat cold beans.
That's a great art.
So you just got to sometimes just roll with it. But
I think that's a perfect name for it. He said that's a good heart. I think Moxie is the team of heart.
oh
There you
my
go.
gosh.
That's evident.
I tell you, it was quite an experience, but we
Yeah.
got to play in the snow. I don't know.
I know.
We
That
got
was-
out and ventured out, and,
Yeah. I threw one snowball and that was it.
Oh, I got pegged with several. That's what happens when you have
Yeah, I
15-year-old
did.
twins.
Yeah.
But it was, it was an experience. I'm glad that we had it. I'm glad that it's over.
Yeah.
Like everybody's saying, if anybody in Texas wishes for snow anytime in the near future, they're going to smack them.
Yeah.
And I can understand that,
Yeah, you can
but
relate.
I'm grateful that I didn't purchase a ski vacation
Yeah.
coming up.
Yeah.
But it was fun, and for the most part, I know. Obviously, we had some tragedies and some really bad things that happened, and obviously there's some shakeups with ERCOT that are going on. But we live and learn. Texas
Yeah.
resiliency,
Exactly.
lives on.
I have a client / friend, a longtime friend, lives up in the Fort Worth and area and west.
Right.
And he's a real estate agent, and he said -2 to 70
Yeah.
in less than 48 hours.
Yeah.
Texas weather.
I know.
Yes, only in Texas.
It is amazing, but it's good to be back. There's we're starting to see some sense of normalcy and some things kind of coming back.
What about events? We got anything coming up?
Events coming online. We've got Josh Abbott. Me, I'm a live music guru, and he's going to be playing down at Rowdy's. It's going to be an acoustic show. It'll be a really great experience. This weekend. Obviously warmer weather is coming, so there are lots of things going on. There's the Texas Independence Day celebration happening at Heritage Park. It is hosted by the Heritage Museum of Montgomery County right here down the street. If you go to heritagemuseum.us, you can actually go to their website and look at all the event details. But they're going to be reciting the Declaration. They're going to be have all kinds of groups and reenactments. It's going to be a lot of fun. That goes from 10 to 5 in Heritage Park right here in downtown Conroe. We also have Quality of Life Chiropractic is doing their Ladies' Day Out from 10 to 2. Come out. It's a kid-friendly event. It's completely free. Door prizes, shopping, music, fun. If you're looking for a place to get out of the house, it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg, and you don't want to have to deal with finding a babysitter. It's great. The folks over there are absolutely fantastic. And also, we had Katie Krause on here with Bears Etc. the other day. They are doing a Spirit Day with Russo's Italian, and if you have not had their pizza, oh my goodness, you're missing out. That starts at 11 on Saturday morning. They get 20% of the proceeds if you mention Bears, etc.
Oh, wow.
So, earmark Saturday for some Texas Independence and some Ladies' Day Out, and then go get you some Italian food and support our friend Katie over
And
at
we
Bears,
love
etc.
Texas Independence Day, don't we?
Yes, we do. And so, fun things going on. And there's a little event going on Sunday
Yeah, a little one?
that we want to definitely talk about. And, it's going to be a good weekend to get out of the house.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So we have a guest with us today.
Yeah, we do.
And that goes in, obviously, with our Sunday event. So, Mel, why don't you take over and introduce?
Well, I first of all, I have known him now maybe 2 months, I guess. And I think that's so odd because he graduated the year ahead of me at Conroe. And we know all of the same people and have known all of the same people, and we just didn't know each other.
Yes.
Anyway, this is Jeff Williams, and he is a pastor and has been in Conroe for over 40 years.
That's right.
Well, then I'm telling how old we are.
That's
now.
right. Good to keep that quiet.
I know. Anyway, and his ministry in Conroe is Eagle's Nest Ministries. And he has got a great program out there that's just awesome. And I'll let him tell you all about it. But wow.
How are you doing,
Just
Mr.
wow.
Williams?
I'm doing well.
Thank you for joining us here in
Well,
downtown Conroe today.
Glad to be here, Christy.
Yes.
Weathered the storm and getting
Yes.
back, like you said, sense of normal. And I'd just like to take a moment to say, for those people still struggling, we're sensitive, like you, got a heart. And so thoughts and prayers go out to them.
Absolutely. And, and it's been obviously, trials and tribulations every day, right?
That's right.
But the past year has been really tough.
It has.
And I'm sure with your line of work and your ministry that
Sure.
you really see a lot of suffering
do.
going on. And I want you to tell everybody about the programs that y'all have and what y'all have created that is such a great outlet for helping those in real need of getting over some real trials and tribulations. Reading about your program and what you've done, y'all really do some amazing things. But why don't you share with our listeners kind of what you do?
Okay, I'll try to summarize that. It's really an outreach. If I could borrow from the word in 2 Corinthians 1, once we are comforted, then we are to comfort others with the comfort that we've been comforted with. So really, this is simply a give back. I've had my own struggles, as we all have, right? Emotionally, mentally, physically, different things. And so as a result of the healing and things I've experienced in that, I just help other people going through very similar things. So we understand. We're a very understanding, loving group of people giving back into the community, be it whatever those needs may be related to such things. But started this 15 years ago. So our anniversary that you're speaking of will be this coming Sunday. Love to invite everyone to come out and join us.
Yes.
But we've served about 2,000 people through
Wow.
our ministry over these 15 years. And basically, we sort of in the beginning, our focus was emotional healing, helping people overcoming divorces, separations, broken hearts, you may say. And then, of course, over the years, that's evolved because additional things have come into my life. And that's led to an expansion of the ministry related to the additional experiences that I've had.
That's great.
So we just keep helping people.
Right. Well, and as somebody, I believe we all know a family friend of a family member that has been affected, whether it be, drug recovery,
That's
alcohol recovery, financial recovery. And y'all really help them, give them the encouragement to find that roadmap.
That's right.
To get back and to take their life back.
Sure. I like to refer to it as life on life. Taking the opportunity to guide people through their problem, not simply just listen. Prayer is important, but guidance is fundamental to success. So giving them the tools, teaching them and equipping them to overcome and to move through and get to the other side. So were it to be financial, were it to be mental or relationship breakups. And also now, we'll talk about this, but our focus in reentry, people coming out of prison. That's a really interesting segment of the population because they have all those needs.
Yes. And they're already struggling with the negative societal
That's right.
connotations that come along with that and having to build themselves up emotionally and strengthen their armor, if you will, in order to be able to counter those.
mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical needs, all wrapped into that one population right there.
Yeah.
Oftentimes drugs has been a factor. And so all of those things kind of converge, you may say. But Eagle's Nest didn't start out primarily focused in that population. But through evolution and now emerging of things, we're able to really specialize in that particular population of people.
Well, and with God's guidance, kind of leaning you in that direction.
Well,
obviously,
absolutely.
there's a need that needs to be filled.
Absolutely. But as I spoke there earlier about experience, my daughter did 5 years in prison. Very painful, sad ordeal, but we're very open, public about this. Because again, I believe we're brought through these things that we might be of service to other people.
Absolutely.
So it engaged me. I tell people I didn't get involved in prison ministry. I had no intention to, but it got involved in me.
Well, it's one of the things that you said that really touches my heart. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine just the other day that has a son that is struggling with drug recovery. And, and she was struggling as a mother because she didn't have the words that impacted him. And they're a little bit estranged right now. But her frustration was, we were so close and I'm his mother. But she has another family member that has been able to reach out to connect with him because she too is recovering. And and to share those experiences, so it's not that condescension, there's not that struggle. That means so much to somebody who is going through something like that.
Christy, for me, I've been in ministry most all of my life. And so I kind of had this stained glass view of myself. Self-righteous. Just have to admit that. That's really what I was. And so until I went through some hurt and pain and that all fell off of me, I felt the embarrassment and shame, and I got caught and left and, whatever. I began to see myself differently. One of the coolest things I've ever done is I've ridden all 50 states on my motorcycle.
Oh, very nice. I'm a little jealous of that.
Well, okay. But I did that by myself. And all of that alone time, I started seeing some things in me I didn't like, right? And so I started to get on my own nerves. and I think you laughed through experience.
Yeah, I know. I love that. That's so real.
It's real. And then that was where I was headed. That's the word, real, Melanie. And once you get real, you see yourself differently. You see others differently. So look at yourself and you see others differently. So.
Well, and I think in this world that we live in with, picture filters and, and all of these self-created identities on social media that a lot of people are dealing with, I think real is what everybody is aching for right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
And real and authentic is sustainable. You see, you build that around something. So you're just speaking to that with ability to relate. If you've been through something and you're honest about that, and you're in touch, then you reach out to someone else, and that's exactly what they need. Don't judge me. Don't criticize me. Teach me. Show me. Engage with me. Love me. Care about me. So, it takes a minute to get to that place in our own life. I'd like to tell a quick story here.
Please do.
I got a buddy. His name is Hank, and he was sitting one Wednesday night with me in our Bible study at Eagle's Nest. And he said, Jeff, before I go, I want to tell something. And this was just a real revealing piece of the experience he had through that past week. Hank admits that he has difficulty with people throwing trash. He doesn't like litter. He gets real worked up about that. And we understand that. Don't mess with Texas, right?
Right.
But anyway, he says he's driving down the highway. He's got an 18-wheeler behind him on 45. And he's blasting along there at 80 miles an hour, and he sees trash on the side of the road. Well, he wants to pull over and pick that trash up. He just can't stand it.
Right.
Well, the 18-wheeler, he's not going to let him get over.
Sure.
So he has to pass it by. And he talked about how that frustrated him all week, thinking about that.
Aggravated him. Yeah.
But a few days later,
oyster.
He's a surveyor. So he's out along beside the highway where he's surveying and notices some trash along beside the road. He picked that up and discarded of that. He said, see, my aim in life is to leave a zero effect here footprint on life. I can't do anything about what's already passed, but I can do something about right now. And I love that story.
That's a great story.
It's a great story. And that was worth our Wednesday night. I said,
Yeah.
why didn't you say that at the beginning of class?
We could have talked all
Yeah,
night
we could have
about
went
that.
home an hour ago. But it's a great story. I think, look,
Yeah, absolutely.
this is Jeff sitting here. This is all of us, right? I mean, we mess up. We do things. We've all been in those situations. But if we turn back around and see how we might be able, we can't change the past, but we can change the future.
You know, I read this great story one time that that really, I think, reflected God's ability to give you the freedom to move on with life and beyond your mistakes. And it was, and I'm going to butcher this, so I'm just going to kind of summarize it. But basically, the difference between, you know, a spiritual life and not having a spiritual life is if you don't have a spiritual life, you're walking along, and every mistake that you make and every trespass you commit, you throw that in a bag that's hanging over your shoulder.
Well, sure.
And it burdens you down.
Yeah.
And it slows you down, and it keeps you from being able to fully move forward. And what your spiritual life does is tears a little hole in the bottom of that bag. So as you move forward, some of those things fall out, and it loosens your load, so you're able to move forward and focus on that.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And I think that's
awesome.
I think it's just to me, it kind of changed the way that I thought about forgiveness and self-forgiveness.
Sure.
Is because if you carry those burdens through your life, you're not going to ever reach the potential that God has laid out for you.
Yeah. We're having church now.
And the older I get, the bigger that hole gets. Because I see every mistake I make. I'm harder on myself than anybody else could ever be for the mistakes that I make. And but I think the older I get, the more I let things go. The more and also the things that people do against me, they're forgotten. Like.
Well, because it's
Or forgiven.
Well,
I should
it's
say
exhausting. It's exhausting.
It is.
And you know, and
It's heavy.
It is heavy.
It's heavy.
And you know, and I've been blessed, you know, through other ministries where I've met people recovering from whether it be coming out of prison or the jail system, or being in some kind of recovery from alcohol or drugs, or my friend Gary Buckaloo, who runs a wonderful ministry helping soldiers kind of come back and take their lives back. And to hear these incredible stories, it really is that story of human resiliency and
Absolutely.
you know, which is so Texas too.
Yeah.
But to be able to give them a channel to do that and give them the steps and the tools that they need
Yes.
is so integral, because I think everybody wants to help somebody that's in trouble or that's in need, but not everybody comes up with a program that says this is how you do it.
That's right.
So how did you develop this? Okay, well, first of all, where did the nest or the word eagle's nest come from? Because I saw this great picture the other day that had a life-size eagle nest.
Really?
That had fallen out of a tree, and they had recovered it, and it was huge, and it was so encompassing.
I need the address.
And
I've got to go back and get that. That's
And I was, and so on my way here, that was kind of drawing
back of your
connections
head,
in my
yeah.
brain,
Yeah.
because I see this and what you've said as being this open embrace for all kinds of people. So how did y'all come up with Eagle's
Well,
Nest?
first of all, hook me up with that picture.
I will.
Wherever
I'm gonna
that
find
is.
it. I'm
I
gonna
got to
find
find that. The simple. Really, this is all it is. I was setting up here one day 16 years ago, at the intersection of 45 and 105. I was coming eastbound, and just before I came under the highway there, the land to the left had been clear cut. And so now there's a big shopping
Yes.
center, Panera Bread, and all such. But in this particular day, there's 5 acres of dirt. And the Lord stopped me there. I was at the red light, spoke into my heart. I could see devastation, but being that I have a heart of restoration, I see potential. Right? So this is a cool moment. So he says, Jeff, what do you see? I said, dirt. What are your thoughts? What's going in there? I said to myself. He said, I'm going to teach you to look at people that way. The light turns green and my heart broke. It was a life-changing moment for me. I do have the ability, I think we all do, to have a desire to help people. You know, I want to help people. And I see people But I've done that with houses and cars through the years. I love working with my hands.
Mm-hmm.
But I had trouble making the connection between what I was doing with my hands and this spirit he gave me and people until that day. So since that day, he's been wrapping all that together in me. And so I want to say this on behalf of those of us who care, want to make a difference in the world around us. We need to be first responders. When you see the person's picture in the newspaper, right, when they're the ones indicted today, you can watch Police Reporter.
Right.
See? I kind of wonder at people at times why they scan through these things. Is it just inquiring minds want to know, are you looking for the mugshot, the face?
Right.
You know what? That's somebody's dad. That's somebody's son. There's a mama somewhere.
Yeah.
There's some kids somewhere, and they're crying. They're brokenhearted. So he taught me, to see what looked like devastation in a clear cut was actually preparation for something to come. So today, when I see people, and they just came out of prison, they just they're in the Conroe Police Reporter. They're arrested. They're whatever. They filed bankruptcy. They lost their job.
Right.
Whatever. So I would just say to us that we would be sensitive instead of judgmental, that we would not be critical, but ready to respond. Because there are people that have been broken, hurt, devastated. And that can actually be the best thing that ever happened to someone. See? But if we sit back and we judge and we watch, and then it just continues to propagate. It gets worse. And I think that's kind of what we see in our culture. Whereas the world right now we're all a mess, right?
Yes.
We're all struggling. in some way.
Absolutely.
And we need to be honest and real. And one of the ways I get through daily life is I stay surrounded with some solid people. People I can talk to, people I can say whatever is on my mind. I have emotions, I have frustrations. I get that out, right? Otherwise, I'd be running somewhere
Exactly.
to get some help, and I'd
Yeah.
probably regret that in the morning.
Right.
Maybe not even remember it.
Right.
So before I do that, I've learned some of these skills. So by building a campus, by developing a safe place, that's really all Eagle's Nest is. It's the safest place you could ever be. An eagle's nest is a safe place. And so mother's going to care for that eagle if a fire comes up that tree. She's going to hover down over those eaglets. And so everything about eagles, Isaiah 40, he's going to mount us up on wings like eagles. That's really our theme verse. But I just love the courage of eagles. I love how eagles defend their own. I love the courage they demonstrate. So many pieces. So I just took that in Isaiah 40 and wrapped that around. That's where
Love
the
it.
name came from.
I love it.
But it's just Eagle's Nest is a safe place. And once you heal, then you get kicked out of the nest.
Get booted over the edge.
It's not a place
Learn to fly.
we don't intend for you to come and live there. But you can stay a bit, And so we have transitional housing and all kinds of pieces. But we're just helping people. I kind of call it a rest area ministry.
Yeah.
Right? Your lights come on your dash, pull over.
Yes.
Right? Let's look at this. Let's examine. Let's put you back together, and then you merge back out on the highway.
Well, and and it's funny because I, seeing people struggle and going through my own struggles, you get a little bit fixated on what's going on in your life, and you don't really realize that maybe your worst day is what somebody else is dreaming of for their best day. Where you have trouble. Or you can't buy the car that you want. Well, there's somebody else that would just love an opportunity to have that, have that thought, have that idea, and I think it sounds like where people can come and share those things openly and be consoled by each other, by people that know what it's like.
Know what it's like.
Yeah.
And that's where being real is a big factor in this. I had to get there where I could serve. Before, as a professional, I know what to do and how to say it, and I can preach and teach and tell you stuff you don't even want to know, right? So I had to go through some stuff.
Yeah.
So you could get to that
to
point.
get real,
Right.
and I thought that was the worst thing that was ever happened to me. How do you, God, stop? And I just screamed and kicked and spit until he just,
He just said,
put his
"Sorry."
thumb on me and said, I got a purpose in this. And that's what I want to tell people too, man. It's not over till he says it's over. So whatever you're going through, it takes faith to look at this, right? And you need to get
Absolutely.
around some people who know about this, because we can talk to you, encourage you through it. But this is not the worst thing that happened to me.
Right.
You see, it could be worse. We could be dead. We could be in hell. We don't. That's the worst thing that can happen to us. So we're still alive.
Yep.
We're still kicking. We got us a day here, right? I had this cool experience this week as I was calling to make a claim for my parents on their well damage from the storm. And so I'm calling the insurance, and they put me through and transfer me. And so this lady's on, she couldn't have been nicer. And so I'll give a shout out to Nationwide Insurance because that was the agency. So anyway, she's talking, she's just friendly. And I said, ma'am, obviously you're not in my neighborhood, right? She said, no, I'm in Columbus, Ohio. And she says, well, I said, well, you know what's going on? Oh, yes, she said, Mr. Williams, I know all about what's going on in your community there. I said, well, okay. She said, but count your blessings. I said, really? She said, yeah. She said, in order to leave the house this morning, I had to push snow drifts out of the way, and they're up under the edge of my windowsills all around the house. And
Wow.
I said, thank you.
Yeah.
I said,
Perspective.
Yeah.
She put it in perspective.
Yeah.
So if we keep life in perspective, we stay in touch with this real person living inside me, right? Then I can see a little bit of me in everybody else. And so we all need to get there and quit judging and such as that. And I keep bringing that up. But so all we're talking about is we're trying to raise the conversation now in post-incarceration with this particular community of people because they've done their time. The justice system did their part, right? And law enforcement, and God bless all these people and everything they do.
Absolutely.
But we have a crisis on our hands in this regard because we haven't given much thought to what do we do after. So after advancing felons toward essential resources is really what we're trying to do there is we're just filling some gaps. So we take people that we don't judge, right? We don't criticize, and we relate to them. We bring them in, and they can stay there, live there for a year. And so we help build those resources into them. Houses, cars, jobs, support systems, spiritual, mental, emotional, physical. It's a comprehensive approach to restoring a life. Just as Panera Bread sits down there now on that same piece of property, see. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It takes some planning. It takes a lot of different people to make it happen.
Right.
So, but that's what we do.
Well, and I want you to go through those pieces because I found it all very interesting when you and I talked, and I want you to go through some of that. So can we take a little break and, or do you have something else to
Yeah,
say?
no,
Sorry.
sure. No, I think this is a great time for a break. I do want to say hello to Danette and John who are watching and commenting and giving you props and saying thank you for
Well,
the changes that you've made in their lives.
Shout outs to Danette and John.
I know. Thank y'all for listening. I think this is a story that everybody needs to hear because we all need some forgiveness and we all need to have a path of moving forward. If you are going out on your lunch hour, make sure you are tuning in to Facebook Live and watch Moxie Innovative. This is Toast the Town with Christy and Mel. We'll be right back.
Listen in Mondays at noon to hear Conroe news from local nonprofits, businesses, upcoming events, Conroe Park events, news stories, and information that matters to you with your host, Margie Taylor of Taylorized PR. For more information about being a guest, visit irlonestar.com/Conroe Culture.
An estimated 1 in 10 births will result in a neonatal intensive care stay, also known as the NICU. Overnight, a family can find themselves and their newborn baby in a critical situation. The Mila Foundation financially and spiritually assists families in need. If you would like to volunteer or become a monthly sponsor, please visit us at www.themilafoundation.org. Again, that's www.themilafoundation.org, because every life matters.
Our talk shows and music shows are looking for sponsors. Want to expand your brand awareness or reach the hyper-local audience in Montgomery County? The Lone Star Community Radio sponsorships accomplish this. Want to see our stats and rates? Check out irlonestar.com/sponsor for more information. Or call in and leave us a message at 936-647-3776 with your question. Get seen on TV or YouTube and heard on our podcast, FM, and internet radio. Sponsor your local radio station with Lone Star Community Radio.
Statistics show that 1 out of every 6 Texans struggles with food insecurity and hunger. And many people don't eat enough fruits and vegetables every day. The Better Living for Texans program is here to help you learn how to make healthy menu choices, save money at the grocery store, prepare quick and delicious meals, get more good nutrition in your day, and get more physical activity. Classes are fun, friendly, interactive, and free, and taught in English and Spanish. We are Texas A&M AgriLife Extension, helping Texans make their lives better.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Toast to the Town with Christy and Mel, and we are having a great day. The weather's not gorgeous, but hey, it's not raining, it's not snowing, and it's warm.
I know, and my days hasn't been a bad day, but it hasn't been a very inspirational day until I got here.
Yeah.
And Mr. Williams, I just want, and I'm gonna call you Jeff,
Please.
but
Prince Jefferson is what I prefer.
I knew we were going to get along. Now I'm feeling very
positive. Yeah.
But really, it's funny because some people think that you have to be an elected official or be a president of some company to make a difference in somebody's life. Mm-hmm. And you are here proving that is absolutely not true.
No, that's true.
So Mr. Jeff Williams here with Eagles Nest Ministry, and y'all have an event coming up Sunday.
We do.
15 years of helping people.
That's right.
That's a huge milestone.
Mm-hmm.
And so tell me about this celebration that y'all got going on Sunday.
Well, I kind of like to say ministry years are like dog years. So it's really like 8 to 1 in this deal. So it's hard to put a real number around it.
64. Yeah. He's not that old, obviously.
But yeah, 15 years. That is an accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
And let me say, I'm representing, right, Eagles Nest Ministry. But behind me is an incredible board. Shout out to those folks. Donors, sponsors, prayer warriors, people, lovers of what we do. And I appreciate all these people so much. I feel so small, right? I'm really insignificant in this deal. God just has used me. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, I just go to the back of the bus and Jesus take the wheel. Mm-hmm. And here we go. So it's been a ride. It has been an incredible ride. I really don't have this 5-year plan, It kind of looks like I know what I'm doing out there, but I don't know. But yeah, I just work.
He didn't really mean that, people.
I know,
but do any of us? I mean,
we don't really.
And that's the big question.
And that's the exciting part of it. You see, it's not that I'm not willing. I don't have some experience. I don't mean it that way. It's just that you just give him control and let him move.
Absolutely.
So it's not been exactly what I thought it would be, right? I'm helping a population of people I previously knew nothing about. Uh-huh. So it's an adventure. That's what it is. It's a 15-year wildest ride I've ever been on in my life. I'm sitting here today still scratching my head thinking, why me?
How did I end up here?
How did I end up here? Yeah. And so that's, just from a leader standpoint, the humility I want to convey to people is you don't have to be anybody special. I don't think God has special people that he's crazier about than others. He sees us all the same, but he does have intimates. And so those intimate people are people who just get up every day and get it done. So I would say I bring that to the table. I bring a willingness and a deep compassion and a sense of loyalty and commitment to follow God. But I got to give him all the credit.
Right. And you were talking about faith. I mean, faith isn't one thing you take a drink of and that's you got to keep drinking from that fountain every day.
That's right. And so I just keep getting up every day and just doing that. Mm-hmm. And then the adventure unfolds in front of me. And if we would all just, get over ourselves, there's no extraordinary people, just ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Mm-hmm. But the difference in that is God leading me and I just follow. So he keeps opening these doors and Eagle's Nest keeps doing it. And so we serve and we love and we help and we don't pass judgment. That guy could be broke and homeless and helpless. And that generally is the people that we help. And you say, well, Jeff, how are you going to pay for that? I don't know. I put all that on God. and I still try to help and go like I got money or something.
That's
No,
right.
I'm that way at the grocery store sometimes. I get it.
Well,
I get
that
the
might be a
feeling.
different thing. Yeah, I don't know if God's overly interested in your grocery bill, but maybe He
Oh,
is.
he is. He is.
I'm just saying. But
I'm
we're all,
kidding, but I get, I
yeah,
think
we're-
everybody who.
we're learning in
Sure.
this deal. I can't figure it all out. I can't find pathways to build it all and take all the messiness out of it because people are messy.
Yes.
Life is messy.
Relationships are messy.
Well, relationships are messy. But the more I come to grips with this, the more peace I have, Christy. I'm one of the most free people, I think, alive, right? Do I have headaches? Do I have problems and heartache? I got all that stuff. I could complain for hours, right? We all could. But that's not the way I see life. I see life as, whatever this is, He's bringing me through it. He's going to take me through it. Then He's going to use me in that. And so as we start trying to build these pieces, we look at an individual and we say, well, this guy has no job, for instance. Well, you think that's an easy fix? That's a difficult fix for a felon. These labels, you see. So I'm
These
just trying to address,
misconceptions.
that's right. I'm trying to address these things because if you're going to label somebody, that's for life, you see. And now you got to try to find a way to look beyond the label to get the guy a job because you got to check the box on the application. And so he's not likely to get hired there.
Right.
So this has been very challenging to me, is to find creative ways to get people reconnected into our culture with the labels. So jobs is one of those areas. So we decided we would build an automotive shop. We are mechanically inclined generally. Most of our guys are. So we built a 5-bay automotive shop.
Fantastic.
And
Cool.
we're just about ready to open this thing up. We got 2 lifts out of 5. We got the building is sitting there. It's been paid for. It's a wonderful thing. And then COVID comes and here's, blah, blah. So we got to lift this thing. We need some capital money to open these doors. We need a key person to come in, run the shop. So we just want to train our men in automotive skills while they're on campus for 1 year.
Yeah.
Advanced Auto Parts wants to partner with us, train the guys, get them certifications. Tools, a vehicle, and their mobile mechanics run their own business. Now they're independent contractors. We're around the loop of check this box.
Right.
You follow me? So everything we do there is creative in finding pathways. Let me just say quickly, we have as many as 100 people a month coming to our county from TDCJ.
Right. Because, they're just right up the road.
That's right. It's a large population of people that are coming back into our community without jobs, without homes, without cars, and without support systems.
And it really doesn't give them much of an opportunity to stay out of
Correct.
that because they're not, you take away their livelihood,
There
take
you go.
away a place to live, take away their ability to get anywhere to make any money.
Sure.
Where do they go?
And quite honestly, that wouldn't be any different if it were you or I.
You're right.
Starting over is difficult, and you've got to have somebody to help and assist us. Particularly you're 30, 40, 50 years old, and you can't just go back to square one, root square 0,
Yeah.
and start back over. So we build these pieces in there, and we put an establishment around them, and we take our relationships that we've established in the community, friendships and supporters and whatever, and we're grateful for every one of them because it builds a pathway for our guys to get reconnected. And so, but we need help. We're trying to do something here I really think is a community problem. And we got tapped into it, right? Unaware that it was a problem.
Right.
And then you look up one day and now our phones are blowing up and letters in the mail every day and emails, please help, right? We get all these requests. So if anybody knows, the folks on Shark Tank, I'm looking for some billionaires here. Yeah. I'd like to get on their
That'd be
show.
good.
Yeah. Because I have it's a situation that we've built basic established pieces to launch this, but to go bigger and to help all these folks who are requesting what we have, we need to get the community involved.
Well, and I was looking on your website, and you've got some great sponsors, some supporters that
Sure.
you've had over the years.
Absolutely.
And we just need to build on that.
We need to build.
And
on it,
I
yes.
think so many people, especially right now, here we are, they're coming out with, new data and virus numbers are down and, things look good and we've got vaccinations, all that good stuff. But what is going to be left behind after this virus is quote unquote gone is going to be the experience that everybody went through. And I think there are so many that never expected to experience financial hardship, job loss, losing their homes, losing their livelihoods. And, and a lot of people have been able to recover from that and now have that perspective. And I think it's a great opportunity for them to realize it is now time to pay that forward.
I agree.
And so that is, I think it's, here we come up on, is this an obstacle or an opportunity?
Yes.
I think what could lay out in front of us here is an opportunity. It has changed the way we see life. These events that we've been through, we've all had to live in a certain amount of fear.
And uncertainty.
And maybe in some ways feeling incarcerated, told to stay home. And
and alone. And that's,
alone.
That's certainly an incarceration of its own.
It is. And so we've all kind of maybe experienced something very comparable to what the folks that we've been focusing on there have obviously all been through. So I would have to say for myself, my connection in that is having my daughter incarcerated for 5 years. I clearly tell people I did 5 years.
Yes.
And when that's a loved one. And so something we need to stop and think about is we can talk about the numbers of 149,000 people today incarcerated roughly in the state of Texas. That's 149,000 families.
Absolutely.
And so what I'm seeing is the extended reach of the impact of incarceration on our community and on our families and people. And this leads us back into fatherlessness and all these broken relationships. And if we don't intervene somewhere, if you don't turn this around, if you don't get involved, if we just keep turning them out and letting them go and ignoring them, which, previously I'm preaching to myself, because that's what I was doing, unaware that's what I was doing. And today now I just say, no, something needs to be done about that.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to raise that awareness in it. But this could be a grand opportunity for people who have experienced some of these things that maybe they had previously never been through. It makes us a little more understanding and relatable to people that's been going through this kind of stuff for a long time.
Yeah, and to have that kind of compassion for your fellow man that everybody needs to feel
Yeah, but let me get my water fixed first, right? As long as I got water and a hot shower and something to eat, I'll help somebody.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Well, for those of you that are listening and have an interest in getting involved, if you go to eaglesnestconroe.com, there are so many great details about the programs, about the services, about your ministry that are there. And it gives a great way for people to plug into you and connect with you. Because, if you've only got $20 to share, that $20 is going to make an impact in somebody's life.
It sure can. That's right. Our website, our Facebook, we're looking for followers, just trying to raise awareness. So we'd appreciate people going on there, eaglesnestconroe.com. And Eagles Nest Ministries is our Facebook.
On Facebook. And also the event on Sunday is going to be so interesting and so well. First of all, there's the program at noon that starts at noon is going to interview some of the people that have participated in it. And
Excellent.
I think that's going to be extremely interesting for the people that they're not in touch with it. They're not anyway. And of course the worship service starts at 10
o'clock.
And we've got pastors. I think.
Well, I really don't know about all of that. I think
there's like 40 of them. No, I'm
Some
teasing.
of us-
There's not that many. There's
Sure.
there's quite a few pastors, and there are elected officials, and there are community people. But come knowing that there's childcare for the kids, and there's lunch at noon, and come ready to enjoy yourself, and learn a lot.
Joe's Pizza and Pasta
That's
is doing
right.
the coding. We got to
That's
give
it.
him a
That's
shout.
it.
Yeah, that'll bring
Chris
you.
will be there.
Well,
Yeah, she said, "What time's lunch?"
And
That's what
talk
she wants.
about a wonderful partner that
Yeah,
has
oh
a
my
whole
gosh.
a whole soul that's
Sure.
Full of compassion.
Yeah. Gotta love Joe.
They're fantastic folks over there. I promise.
Yes.
It's just I can't say enough about them and about Giving Spirit. It just blows my mind. But I think too, you said all of us are hurting, all of us are in a mess, and this is a really good time to go and experience other people's testimonials, other people's stories, help filling in some of those holes.
There you go.
Yeah.
You know, I had a call earlier from my president of my board. He lives in Dallas, and he said, Jeff, everything's good for Sunday. We're a go. I said, sure. And he said, I know about all the situation there and what's going on around the community. And I said, yes, that's true. It's been a hard week, and everybody's not back to any kind of normal or close to it, many people. But I said this. I said, Jerry, you know what? We need a moment to celebrate. We need a moment to give thanks. We need it. That's what worship does. It takes our minds off of ourselves. And this is important. We all have to learn this. We have problems, we have struggles and challenges. But I try to teach our guys and all these folks here, it can be painful to say it, but it's true. It's not about you. And so a Sunday to celebrate, to take a moment and give God glory for 15 years, talk about successes, build people up. We all need this.
Yes.
And we need it right now probably as much as any time. So if people would come out and we get together and we laugh and we tell some stories, and I'm full of jokes, right? So be prepared for a little corn, right? I got to throw yeah. And I'm probably the only one laughing, but I think
Once
most
again, we're gonna
people
get along really
I think
well.
we'll be fine. Yeah. I think most people laugh at me laughing is what they do, not my jokes.
But you know what? You know what laughter does? Laughter opens your heart.
It does.
But
it's important that we take a minute, Christy, Melanie, and reflect. We get so focused in what's in front of us, and we think, well, the world's coming to an end, or this is the worst thing ever happened, right? And we slow down and we think, you know what? No. There were several times in the past I thought that. And I look back, and then I get perspective, and I say, he brought me through this, and he brought me through that.
I always say, God's not going to drop me in the grease here.
That's right.
All that other
He
stuff
didn't bring
came
us
through,
this
he
far
didn't-
to drop us. But I tell you, when you're a mess, when you're hurting, when you got the diagnosis, right? Your pipes are burst. You're going to prison. There's those moments, and it's easy to lose heart and just give up. And that's the only difference in me and anybody that I've helped out there is I just didn't quit. And so I'm trying to encourage other people to not quit. Get up, and love can do this. Engage, draw people in, let them know somebody cares. It's amazing what love can do. When you're a first responder and you show up in a person's crisis, right? And you say, hey, I got you. You need to come to my place. See, you were willing to open your home over there. That's great. Because that can make the incredible difference in that person's future. So I just see that when a person steps out of a prison cell, man. We got a guy there was locked up 27 years. He's there right now at Eagles Nest. Are you kidding me? You've been out for 27 years. You've been gone, and now you step out on these streets?
I just can't even imagine the
It's
challenge.
incredible.
Because I know.
It was before cell phones.
Oh, he has. I tell these stories about going to a convenience store and try to use the dispenser for a soda.
Yeah.
And you put a card in a gas pump. What? You're supposed to go inside. I pull up the gas pump and then drive off. Jeff, you're supposed to go pay. I said, I paid. I know, but it seems hilarious. But you don't
it's a whole
realize
different reality.
It's yes. And this creates fear and anxiety.
Stepping into the Jetsons.
And so if we're not sensitive and aware, we're unaware that we're creating an anxiety in a person who may be standing in front of us in line, but they're froze and they can't go forward. They don't know what to do. The cashier's saying swipe.
Yeah.
They don't have a clue what that means.
Right.
And they're simply trying to pay for a drink. And you're not aware of the fear in that person. And so you speak, you blow your horn, you bark, and now we could set off. See, this could turn to something violent.
Yeah. Ugly.
It just takes a minute to show a little compassion.
So, and kindness.
Kindness. But a person coming out of prison, these are the circumstances. I've had to learn this now. So my sensitivities and compassion is I get the drink for them. So they can watch me work at the dispenser.
Set that example.
They can learn. And so if we're willing to be role models and examples for people trying to make a new start, we can help them through some of those fears and anxieties, and they don't go back to prison. We've had tremendous success at this because that's what we do. So I would just encourage everyone, be aware of the people around you. We don't know what anyone's going through in this deal. It's probably a lot worse than we can even imagine.
Yes, and I think a lot of us have been conditioned to walk around with this heavy suit of armor,
Sure.
Defensive all the time. But sometimes you got to be on the offensive and let that armor down,
That's
so
right.
you can let somebody in.
Yes.
Because honestly, it's about human connection, which we've lost a lot of sight of.
We have.
And I'm one of those. I believe love conquers all. I believe kindness can change the world.
Good for you, Christy.
Not to say that I'm perfect, and that I don't have bad days, and that I don't sometimes honk my horn, because sometimes I do.
I want to talk to those two 15-year-olds.
And I've got two 15-year-olds. Change your whole world. But I think it's so vitally important that everybody get a bigger sense of self.
Yes, it is.
Or maybe a smaller sense of self and a bigger sense of the community that's around us. And because you have to have people.
You bet.
And knowing that you're loved, and knowing that someone can give you forgiveness, and knowing that you can rip a hole in the underside of that bag and let some of those burdens go.
Yes.
And find the people and the guidance and the spirituality that makes that happen.
Yes.
Because it really does make a difference in your life.
Oh, it sure does.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing that heart. But that's all we're trying to do, is help people and awaken this in us. This is who we are. God made us. I think about this in His heart in me. And I often say this to some of the people. They say, well, so-and-so's thinking about me, and they're thinking negatively, and they're talking about me. And I kind of burst people's bubbles. I'm a realist, and I say, you know what? I hate to burst your bubble in this deal, but truth is, they're not even thinking about it. And I said,
You're not that important.
That's right. I said, when I woke up this morning, you were not on my mind.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the truth, because we get so tangled up in our own worlds that we just think everything is about us, and it's not maliciously.
Right.
And a lot of times it's defensively. Oh, what can I do? How can I fix it? How can I? Because I'm guilty of that. But really, and then I'll be like, oh, I'm sorry for whatever I did that upset you, and they're like, I don't even know what you're talking about, because we create these situations.
Being in ministry, I just have to tell you, I have to live in these baseline pieces, because really it's life and death. This is short. We're here a minute, and we're gone.
Right.
And so, having done many funerals through the years, I'll just tell you that nothing you've done for yourself will be remembered. And when somebody's got to stand there and talk about your life, they won't talk about what you built and who you knew and how many Facebook friends you had, which, by the way, they won't show up at your funeral anyway.
That's right.
They're just Facebook friends. But I tell you this, what you did for others and what you sow into the life of someone else, you got up in that moment when you felt bad, right? And your water didn't run. I heard a story the other day of a guy, he's a Facebook friend. He went in his own bathroom. He had two, so he disconnected one and took the pipes out of his own walls
To give it to a
to
neighbor.
go to a friend's house and hook those pipes up to make his neighbor's water work.
Well, and as Maya Angelou said, people will never remember what you did or what you said, but they'll always remember how you made them feel.
Right.
And I want to say thank you so much
Thank
you to Eagles Nest Ministry. Go to eaglesnestconroe.com. Make sure, come out on Sunday, fill your soul, fill your bucket, find your way you can help, because you can really make the difference in the life of somebody who's really struggling and needs it. Make sure you tune in next Wednesday at noon for the best of Montgomery County for Toast the Town with Christy and Mel.
We have the mayor with us next Wednesday.
Absolutely. And Jeff, thank you so much for being
You're
here.
welcome.
And thank you for all your work. Y'all make it a great week, and we'll see you next time.